the secrets right here, right now. And then this video may probably go members only. How you doing? We got Tools and Souls in the house. What's up?
I am living the dream, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here. I am happy. I am living life. It's great. I upset a whole bunch of Makita guys today. My life is complete.
Well, there you go. What more could you ask for?
Not for me, nothing. I'm happy with
Yeah.
it.
Well, behind me, we've got a 1600 amp service here. And I don't know, I thought I'd never make a video like this and post it. So here we are on a live. It's less likely to be seen by more people. We'll see how it goes. There's nothing wrong with showing anything here. There's no names, no faces, no addresses, no company names, no nothing. But there are some pretty substantial problems that you would not expect to see on a 1600 amp service. And I think it's important for us to talk about them. What about you?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Before we get too started, we got a lot of people here, man. We got Learning with Juan, we got Stephen B, we got Joshua Wilson, Preston Mathis, Comment Z, and Caleb Ross. What's up, man?
Wilderness Preacher, did you get him?
I did not see him, but I was scrolling pretty quickly. Oh, what's up, Wilderness? Hey, I got these right here.
True. George Ordway.
Jamie True, George Woodway. This is why you shouldn't say names. And our clients are present, but not clients. The $6 gear wrenches. Yeah, not bad at all.
Don't worry, I'll save your ass. I'll know what the tools are.
All right, so we're going to get you up in here close. The first thing that I look for, what's the first thing you think that you would look for when you're doing a service inspection?
That's, having never done an inspection before.
Yeah.
I mean, my immediate thought was to look outside of the panel box and make sure that there, like, as I approach, that there's no mistake on the outside of the panel box. But I don't know.
So one of the first things that I look for, and it's probably the most important, right? Because you can look at all this stuff, but if this one part of the install is not done correctly, it all has to be redone. So before you even look at if the wire's the right size, can you not hear me?
Well, you sound like you're about to ask Major Tom, or tell everybody it's Major Tom to ground control. I want to know if people can hear me all right.
Did that just start up?
No.
Oh, well.
Major Tom to ground control.
So it does not sound like high quality.
It sounds like you're on a headset.
Okay, well, we're on a microphone.
Okay.
And you can't hear my kids, so.
Would you prefer me to sound like this?
Yeah, I mean, you're good by me sounding like anything you want to sound like.
It is 2024. I can sound like whatever I want to sound like.
Do I still sound good further away?
Yeah, you sound fine.
For about like 65 yards.
I'm not allowed to have a headset like that, dude. My kids would, if I turn off this noise reducer, might be game over.
Sir, I've got multiple heaters going on in here and my dogs are barking. But this mic has built-in noise cancellation that's just ridiculous. I echo.
Maybe we'll explore that next.
Easy.
Definitely thought you were just wearing boxer shorts. Nice. Okay.
Oh,
this is the first thing we're looking for. We're going to do an available fault current calculation. Now, I've got other videos on this. We're not going to bore you with all of the details about an available fault current calculation. But it starts with the impedance, which would be more or less the resistance of the transformer. the voltage, and the kVA. So why you want to look at this would be, let me see if I can get this video going.
This is the newer mic, NEEWER. They're
I
like
want this
$90.
Yeah. Okay, right there. So you can see the impedance is 5.55 on that. It might be backwards for you guys. Pretty sure. Might be. Is it backwards?
No, it's good. It's good.
Okay. So we're going to 5.55 impedance, right? Which is great. The best I've ever seen is like a 5.7, which is very high. So that's a good number to have.
Anthony L. Anderson.
It's related to this number right here on the breaker. So there's 750 kVA on the transformer. And if we get really close to this thing at the beginning here, right there, this right here is the AIC rating, the interrupting rating. I don't know if you can see that, but take my word for it. At 240 volts, we have 65,000 AIC. So in the event that this switch needs to trip, it can withstand up to 65,000 amps. Where that becomes relevant is, think of it like this. If you've got a stock car and you put a souped up engine into that stock car and you slam the gas and it's fully souped, I got 1,000 horsepower, right? What's going to happen to the drive shaft? Yeah, the drive shaft is toast. Okay, so the drive shaft is toast. That is the equivalent of this. The transformer is the engine. And if we've got too much available fault current coming into that equipment, it's toast. So that's the first thing we look for is the fault current, because nothing else matters. If the equipment's not rated, this is all for nothing. All right, next. Usually the next thing I look for is grounding. So you can see here.
Not really.
I'm gonna let the video
I'm on
play.
my cell phone screen, so it's going to be harder to see.
I'm gonna let the video
anyway.
play. That's all right. I'm gonna let the video play. Hopefully it's not too loud. I turned off the noise reducer, which works very well, by the way.
Good.
Here we go. Down there, we follow him up. That's obviously the grounding. Is that working? This to attach to the neutral.
I can hear it.
We follow it down. This is to remove the neutral so you can do some testing. So do that. This is installed. This is good. And you got another one here so you can isolate, but these are installed. That's great. We're going to see. That's the jumper there. There's the ground there. Jumper's there. And it bonds the neutral. And if you look really closely and you can read that, it'll say main bonding jumper. And I usually give these little wiggle tests, nothing too crazy. You can see all that and hear it? Make sure that all these look pretty.
I can hear it. I can't really see it.
That's right. That's always a good indicator. So one thing that we're looking for just then was the lugs being in the straight line right there.
Yep.
You sort of edited this just a little bit. You'd be surprised how many things I run into that some lugs are, more than others. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I turned the noise reducer back on, so if you notice a difference in sound, that's why.
No worries.
All right, so we'll keep it moving. So we're looking at the grounds. I haven't really looked at the size yet. I'm just kind of making sure that all the key players are lined up, right? And then we're going to start checking off the list on what we need to see as far as sizes. So I usually, you could call that almost like a wiring methods inspection, right? You want to make sure that. Let's hear. I think you should lick your fingers for touching all that stuff. It's all off right now. We haven't energized yet.
He licks his fingers before he touches a lot of stuff, especially if it's a dude. There we go. Look.
Would you let me drill and tap that bus and land a bunch of solar? As long as you drill and tap, man, you can pretty much do whatever you want. That's a viable install right there.
You got to tap him before you tap the bus.
Lysander Spooner, can I ask an unrelated electrical question? Yes. Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to try to scroll through the chat here. My co-host here, his name is Tools with Souls. Go check him out. We're going to get back to the video.
If you don't know who I am, you're one of the few. 41 million people have watched me in the last 2 years.
I like my fingers after touching a lot of stuff. All right, I'm going to turn the noise reducer back off so we can hear this.
1600 amp, but I bet you would, Preston.
Okay. Oh, I did see two comments came in, right? George Ordway said that it's the volts that are not as bad as the amps, which is absolutely true.
Right.
Which is why you can get shocked by a taser and still be here. All right, here we go.
Sounds good.
And what the amperage is, and make sure that we need the correct amount of wire here. There's 600. So there's 600 kc mil. Those wires are about that. They're about that big each. They're fairly large, right? In a minute, I'm going to show you the code book. They're good for 340 amps each. So they've got 5 of them in a set. They land all in the same manner at the same location. It's called a parallel set. You can multiply that by 5, and that'll get you your total amperage. At work, we had a 480 volt heater that malfunctioned. It didn't trip 20 amp bucket, but it did trip the MCC main. Why would this happen? Perfect. These are the questions that I live for.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Didn't loop back to the breaker, is my guess.
Yeah. So when you have a hospital, you do something what you call a coordination study. It's coordinated path of how everything works, right? And what you want to make sure is that your equipment downstream is capable of carrying all of the fault or whatever it might be. If you got something upstream that was supposed to protect and something downstream wasn't rated as high, you can have something upstream not have any damage and something downstream have damage. There's a couple of different factors to it, depending on what equipment you had in series of it. But essentially, the equipment at the front of it didn't do its job, or maybe it did do its job, and the equipment after it was not properly rated, right? I'm going to go back and read the question there. 480 volt heater that malfunctioned. It didn't trip 20 amp bucket, but it did trip the MCC main. Okay, another thing, okay? Something called a GFP, ground fault protection of equipment. If you are basing your breakers, your system, your whatever it is, if you were trying to use the ground to trip the breaker and you don't have a reliable path back to ground, okay, I'm gonna pause there. We base our ohms, our grounding based on 25 ohms, right? You take 125 volts, you divide it by 25 ohms, you do not get enough amperage to trip a 20 amp breaker.
Right.
So we're actually going to talk about this here in a second. It's all about the path back to the neutral. So in this case, if you are over 1,000, it used to be 800. I believe it's 1,000 now, or it used to be 1,000. Now it's 800. I'd have to think about it. I think it's 1,000. If you're over 1,000 amps, you're required to do a ground fault protection test to make sure that you have GFCI protection on your main. So what that tells me is you had a ground fault and you didn't have a reliable path back to ground.
Yeah.
But you had a ground fault breaker on your main that sensed the fault. And thank God, because people probably would have died, honestly. That's just the way it is. If you're energizing the building, you're energizing the grid, you're energizing the steel, right? And you don't have a reliable source. This is why you bond. You bond your cold water because it's likely to become energized. You bond your building steel because it's likely to become energized. You're not bonding that stuff to create a ground. You're bonding it all so it's all the same potential. So you create a great grounding system.
Right.
So once everything's bonded, you can get the current back to the source, which is the neutral. So
Paul W. just showed up.
That's what your neutral does. Oh, Paul W. Got a whiteboard here for you. Man, we got this whole place tricked out just for fall. We got the whiteboard. We got a big whiteboard right there.
That's a big one.
Look at all that room up there we can draw on.
I'm sure you will too.
Okay, let me catch up with the chat now. Scrolling down, scrolling down.
Do you make us bond the gas?
You know, that is a tough question. I'm going to draw that out in a second. So hang on to that question. Let me get through this video because I want to do. I want to talk about the path that the ground fault takes.
I got a question for Preston while we're here. Preston, have you done your first 3-phase solar project yet?
What's up, Paul W? Good to see you. Okay, let me get back here.
You said Carrollton makes them.
Yeah, we actually don't, but we maybe should. It's complicated. We're gonna get into it. Here we go.
What sub panel setup would you do for an MRI machine?
Any MDP,
150 kW.
any nice. That's a pretty big one actually in Gainesville. That makes sense. Working in a mill, there's been added into constantly over the years without proper engineering. Yeah.
Preston, my average one was about 9 times that size.
Yeah. I can't talk about a project that I've seen or done or whatever. It will tell you exactly where I live. Okay. What's up, Alvaro?
Yeah, everybody make sure you hit the thumbs up.
Sub panel for an MRI machine. It really doesn't matter. And I found this out the other day. And I'd love to get someone else with, extensive electrical knowledge and pick their brain about this one, right? MRI machines. Okay, you would think when you think of patient care, you think of redundant grounding.
Yep.
The code, if you go to patient care locations, I've actually got this verbatim, so it's going to sound weird, but pretty much the patient care space, whether it's a chair, treadmill, whatever it is that supports the patient, that zone extends 6 foot beyond the bed, table, treadmill, whatever it is. Okay? That's when you got to have redundant grounding. When you're an MRI machine, you would think redundant grounding. They ran PVC to this machine. So you can't do redundant grounding with PVC. What we determined if you really dig into the code, it says branch circuits. And in this case, it's actually a feeder that feeds the machine. So if anything ever happened, the response would be, hey, that's a feeder, not a branch circuit.
Alvaro, did you get anything in the mail this week? Just curious. It was supposed to be there Monday.
I think they grounded themselves. So what you do is you hit any MDP that's going to give you adequate amperage. Let's just say it's a 200 amp breaker, right? Hit your main distribution panel, 200 amp breaker coming out. You're then running a feeder from that breaker to, it's almost like a PDU cabinet. It's a uninterruptible power supply and a processing unit and an inverter and all that stuff built in with the transformer that feeds that machine. So it creates its own power after that. And then from there, it goes through the PVC. Chances are all that stuff has a QA, QC. It has an assured grounding system to it. And at that point, I'm out. It's like I tried and everyone learned something on that one. What are you doing over there, sir?
Nothing. I just picked up something. I'm really happy.
Nice. Okay, here we go. So
I'm going to play a practical joke using it on you.
Okay, sounds great. Hang on. Turn the noise reducer off. You're going to hear my kids. Hear my kids?
No.
Wow. Okay, here we go.
Nobody touches it, but I'm going to hot glue his shoes to the ground. Okay.
AC mill, aluminum. 600 right there is good for 340 each. On the setting, had a gray C column. Come on, don't do that. So you can see there,
Okay.
as I mentioned
Russ
just
and
now,
Preston, hear you kids. I don't.
340 amps. 600 right there. It's actually on my line right now, so you're not gonna be able to see it very easily.
Yeah.
But 340, that's where we got that math from. So we got all of our math up here on screen. If you remember, this video is available right now. Now we got to see how many sets of speed in this thing. 5 times 340 is 1700. We need 1600 amps. Looks like we're going to be okay. Now we got something called line and load to make sure we can fix that up. So we got to verify which conduit is line, which conduit is load, and make sure that the line
Southpaw.
goes where it belongs.
Who uses math anymore? Seriously. You know what? One of the most underutilized tools on a job site is the calculator.
Yeah, I believe that. So
$80.
on here, you've got 5 350s for the grounding. If we look at 250.122, we look at a 1600 amp breaker. For aluminum, it says 350 kc mil is a proper size ground. So that's what they did here. Now he's using the computer screen with a whiteboard on the screen.
Man, I am sorry to hear about that, Bob, the
What's up,
builder.
Kansas? What's up, Bob? Oh yeah, man. I hope you get better.
Hope it's short, not long.
I had all that stuff. Nothing. Yeah. Okay. This is the part of the sketchy part of the inspection, right? Everything was going good till it wasn't. Here we go.
Yeah.
5 grounds there. We got 5 pipes for the load. We got 1 ground here. Follow it there. Goes to a ground rod. So he just ran it to a ground rod. He didn't run it to the building steel, didn't run it to the cold water, didn't run it to anything. Just put it in the ground.
That's
so
intelligent.
Just like what we talked about, likely was going on at the gentleman that I just answered the question about. I'd have to scroll up. The YouTube on a phone is no good. So that was one problem, right? But this next problem here is like actually crazy. We need the building steel and cold water and use for ground. This is after the main breaker, so we don't want that.
Just for those people that don't think I can build anything. I just built the letter T.
Very nice, sir.
Thank you.
Factory screw right there. All right, so that's a main bonding jumper on a sub panel. What's up, Rodney?
My channel's gonna sneak up on 41 million people have watched my channel. Ain't no sneaking up at 41 mil.
That's pretty funny. It is an awesome tee.
It was a pretty awesome tee.
Yeah.
Considering I made it out of shims in like 5 seconds.
I think we're talking about your t-shirt. But yeah, that tee was good too. Check this out. This is the bonding jumper. So right here we got a factory installed, or at least factory tapped threaded screw here. That one there's a self-tapper. And they're bonding all that together.
Did they?
Does it need to be a single point to prevent ground looping? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So this thing needs to go. Also, the problem with this is because it will cause ground looping. And this is guaranteed to carry current now because we've bonded the grounds and neutrals at the sub. So now we're dividing our current in half on the neutral, half on the ground. You got a really bad connection here. This is going to start arcing. It will. There's current on the ground. So this connection, and you're going to see why it will start arcing. I'm going to show you, and you're not even going to believe what they did here. You ready?
Let's do it. Now I'm going to pay attention.
Field installed self-tapping screw with a washer there. You get this whole jumper out of here because that goes on the neutral bar. Follow me. So send that bar there. And that's the neutral.
Nice, Steven.
We got grounds there. It's been field installed. Screws. Your machine threaded. And then we got some up here. We need the jumper. Look at all the self-tapping, man. These two plates together and then just pull on the can. What we gotta do. See the wood back there? It wasn't even really.
I can't hear what you're saying.
You can see the wood.
Yeah.
You see the wood through there?
I can't see it. I can't see it.
See it now?
No, I'm only looking at a screen about that big, sir.
I can't get you any closer, sir.
It's all right.
Yeah.
As long as
It's
the
all good.
people can see it, I'm just going to take your word for it.
All right, so you got wood that's holding the screw, basically based on compression. Hey, are we gay or bisexual? Have we decided?
Well, it depends on if his mom is around. If his mom's here, we're definitely gay. I'm not saying that she's ugly, but I would rather slide butthole first into a bucket full of dildos than be with that ugly hoe again.
Bro, just thinking about his mom, it's now an innie. It's gone. I don't even know.
But it sounds like that pickle puffer was looking for a date.
It actually does.
I mean, that's why he's asking. Is that the new thing now? Is that how you kids do it? Like in the 70s, we asked what your sign was. When I was in college, it's like, what class are you in? Now it's like, hey, dude, are you gay? I'm really looking for something.
What's up, Big Red Farmer? As long as you use pressure treated wood and exterior rated deck screws, it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so yeah. So it's based on compression, right? There's no actual great connection on the ground there. What's up, Rodney? So dude, that's gonna arc. You put you put current on the ground. So at that point, it's a done deal, man. You got current on the ground. Any way you look at it. This message is held for review. So before we go to the whiteboard, we're just going to talk about this for a second. So this is the something that I drew up earlier. I wanted to point out there that there's no bonding screw because you can see the hole in the back there. So
Multimeter at 37, dude.
So still don't see my star.
Sorry, I got a child abduction alert in the middle of our live stream.
Steven Donaldson, electrical mob here. I finally figured out how to use a multimeter 37. Nice, man. You know what's really nice about some of these newer multimeters is it doesn't matter how old or how new or whatever you are. Even the professional grade multimeters, the new Milwaukee that's $50 does this very well. But even this Fluke, which is just a tank, right? Professional grade. It has an auto sense on the voltage.
Yeah.
You can see where there is no, it says AC and DC on it.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that's great. So there's a couple of things about this, right? One, the leads are attached permanently. So you don't have to worry about them coming out. Because the first thing I do when I grab a multimeter, I put it into continuity right there on ohms. And I make sure it rings out because that tells me my leads are properly connected. I turn it on first. I turn it off.
Way to go, Rod.
I don't know if you can hear that or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to make sure that it beeps because that'll tell you if your leads are properly connected. And then the AC DC voltage thing, there's just something about not having 100 different selections. If you go spend $20 at Harbor Freight or 30, whatever it is, you're going to get a multimeter that has 1,000 different selections. And the average person is not going to be needing those settings on your tester here. So really, really good one by Fluke. But the new $50 Milwaukee's actually pretty decent.
Good.
I gotta bring this closer to even read the chat, man. So blind.
What's up, John Deere?
What we got? Guy on the right. You're the gay escort cowboy. I knew it.
What's
The
that?
guy, the character. Brad's over here roasting you.
Oh, with a name like Brad, God roasted him already. His parents were obviously related from birth. As a matter of fact, the only thing that a dude named Brad can do is get his hand drunk and use a pair of tweezers to get that funny feeling going. Otherwise, an inbred, corn-fed piece of crap named Brad should have just stuck to the trailer park, living off the welfare of the people, instead of coming here to be a bitch. How's that? Did I answer him sufficiently?
Got him. I think it's pretty accurate, actually. Yeah, so I just counted this as this ground being bonded. I made it green to show that it's bonded. Neutral's separated here. But if we put the bonding screw here, you would bond your grounds and neutrals. But I kind of wanted to mention, if you've got, if this is single phase, which it is, we've got 10 amps on our A phase here, and you got 8 amps on your B phase, you're going to end up with 2 amps on your neutral, right? If this is a service, you'd want to put this green screw in. If this was a sub panel and you put this green screw in, the 2 amps on your neutral gets divided in half, and you have 1 amp on your neutral, 1 amp on your ground. That's just the way that it works. And that's why you don't ever bond at a sub panel.
Mike, your last name is Ox Long because that's how your mother took it and what it was from. I'm not saying that you might be related to a farm animal, but when you go outside, your mom looks lovingly at the pasture that she got plowed in.
Russ rockin' ORR. It is now. You gotta defend yourself, I suppose.
I don't know. I don't know where these guys are coming from, but they're gonna find out. This is the Fuck Around and Find Out channel.
It's pretty funny. At least yours is.
You're gonna find out.
At least
they don't like
your
my
channel
hat.
is.
Apparently, they don't like my hat. Apparently, the only hat that you can wear to appease these village people rejects is a condom, because that's the only part of a man they're used to seeing.
Checks out, I suppose.
There,
Just destroyed everybody joining.
Fuck them.
That's great.
Take it easy, Alvaro. Thanks
We'll
for
see you
being
later.
here.
Yeah. Let's go take Milwaukee out. Soldier. We're not gonna take any tools out tonight, man. We're just talking about some electrical stuff.
Whiteboard.
Yeah, we got the whiteboard. So in this case, when they had that bond jumper that went like this screw went into the bus bar, and it was, properly done and threaded in there. You can't even see that. You kind of see it. I wish YouTube would let me share screen. I miss being able to share a screen. That's where they had the self-tapper on this one. And in this case, the way that they're gonna have to fix that, because they had a 5-hole.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's the mounting bolt there. They had 5 sets, right? So 5 were for the load, 5 were for the line. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Paul W., he only did the whiteboard because you like it so much.
They're gonna have to bond the case with some kind of lug. Maybe run a jumper, hit the case here, run out, probably pull this one out, leave this extra long, and as crappy as it sounds, probably do a Polaris and then jumper back in there,
Yeah.
and then do another Polaris and jumper back in there. Because you just got to get it all the same potential. It's not like it's going to be carrying current unless
so.
it's, actually got a fault. I got to fix audio. Dogs loud. There you go. Buzz, man, we're going to get you on the DeWalt selection sometime. Man, I love a good DeWalt. There's not very many, but when you find one, something pretty magical. Grayson Wimberly says package box. I don't know.
That's
Is that
cute, that
Keith he's drawing? Yeah.
changes
Yeah, that was
his
Keith.
name. He just keeps changing his name. I mean, I would too if you just might as well change it to loser.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he is in life.
Let's see here.
No,
Man, I
didn't
kind of
see
miss
your-
StreamYard. StreamYard was pretty dope because you could just share your screen and I could
Not
actually
good
see you and I
impact.
could use your computer, but now we're stuck, using these phones and it's okay.
Brad's pretty hard up. He needs the attention of men.
I think he's hidden from the channel, it says, so I guess he's gone.
Oh, good.
Riggle
versus
versus Bauer. Oh,
What the
Rigid
fuck
versus
is Riggle?
Bauer. Rigid.
Oh,
Rigid.
why?
Yeah, rigid all day.
Yeah, Bauer doesn't compare. Doesn't even get close.
Yeah.
DeWalt has a hard enough time keeping up with Rigid.
DeWalt almost has a hard time keeping up with freaking Hercules lately.
Oh,
There's
I
some
gotta see
interesting
what
names in here.
Candace left. Oh, yeah. Somebody take care of that JKZ.
He already did. Hidden. Gone.
Yeah, get rid of him.
Yeah, he's gone. He's hidden.
Oh, good.
Oh, Rigorless Emu's next drill brand? I don't think so.
Oh, well, the JSD Hope didn't last very long.
Buzzwell says Hercules in the same ballpark. No, that was a joke, man. I really like DeWalt. I haven't had any good luck with Milwaukee. You've seen if I get luck with Milwaukee, dude. Everything Milwaukee I've had for no reason has just kind of failed.
I don't love any of them.
No. The Hope brand looked pretty
I really
impressive. It took a lot to cut it in half.
It did take a lot to cut it in half. I mean, maybe a better saw blade. I was using Rigid versus Jake. Yeah, I can do Rigid versus Bauer. I don't know why, but I could.
It's some pretty fast window with their 35 miles an hour.
Yeah, I know the garage that I picked up yesterday already blew over again. So now I think I'm just going to go spend the money on a new one, but all metal building this time.
Yeah, it's your Mueller.
No, it's a local company here. I can get a 10 by 20 that's, I want to say it's only 8 feet tall, which is perfect. Roll up garage door with a floor for $4,500.
Only 35 in a school, so an amateur.
Yeah, it's well. There's tornado warnings all around me right now.
Oh, really? Right now?
Yeah, we were 82 degrees like 3 hours ago, and now I think we're into the 50s.
Oh yeah. What's up, Rihanna? Yeah, we're doing pretty good. How about you?
Homa
Where?
Musa is down there. He said, "Yo."
Oh, what's up?
I don't know what that means, Southpaw, but if somebody wants the Denna Tools house brand to be ashamed, we got you.
Yeah. Any books I recommend on grounding and bonding?
Sorry, I missed the I.
I don't think I have any books to recommend on grounding and bonding, man. It's all in the
I
code
do.
book. If you start at the beginning of the code book and you read, it tells you exactly
Adam?
why to do what you're doing. Like the code book in 250, it tells you what to do. Talk about some electrical trade knowledge, more technical side of it, but grounding and bonding and sizing wire and all that stuff.
There is
What's up,
actually
the edit guy?
a bunch of like a series of books made by a certain power tool manufacturer,
Oh yeah,
Black and Decker, that are really, really good. They have one specifically on wiring, and it's a complete guide. You can wire just about anything based on that one book.
yeah.
I hate Makita.
All right, I'm gonna do my best to talk in the microphone, hold this camera, pull the cord too tight, and not end the stream. Okay, here we go. So back to the gas bonding question, right? The question is, do you bond the gas line?
I don't know.
The code says,
The Black and Decker series.
code book says anything like to become energized needs to get bonded. That's what it says.
Actually, why it does work is because I did it all myself. Supernova. I don't even know what Supernova said.
So some cities make you bond the gas line, some cities don't, right?
It almost sounded like you said the ass line.
Yeah, the gas line.
I'm
All
just
right,
saying.
so this is kind of the debate. I don't really know how I feel about it. Okay, when you have metal pipe, you know the rigid metal pipe for gas, the black pipe. It's electrically threaded, or it's threaded, so it's electrically conductive. When you screw that all together, and you get up to your heater or whatever you're powering, you've pretty much got a continuous conductor, if you will, which is the pipe. Pro is locked in. Probably. So we got our pipe stepping up, right? We're gonna have the gas meter in between. The pipe typically comes down, or maybe it goes into the house. I don't know what your scenario is. Okay, this can be the house. There's the attic. Got the gas line coming in black pipe, which is rigid. Before it gets to the AC unit in the attic, you typically have a line of flex that connects to it, right?
Yeah.
Inside of this AC unit, you've got a fan. The way that we kind of see it, that switch, not exactly this arrangement, but essentially you've got a switch that connects electrical to your fan, and you're going to have a ground wire that goes to your electrical panel at some point. Hopefully, you should have a ground.
You would hope.
We see that the gas is probably something you don't really want to bond because it's gas. It is likely to become energized, but do you really want sparks on your gas line?
Not typically.
So if you're electrically bonded here and it goes back to your fan and this is all bonded, maybe don't bond the gas line. We don't require it where we're at. Some people do. I don't really know how I feel about it because this is non-conductive. And back in the day, the CCST, where you had your gas meter here and you had that corrugated tubing, and then you had the manifold. You had the manifold, and this went out to this appliance, and this went out to this appliance, and this went to your AC unit or whatever it was.
Sure.
what they want you to do, and they still want you to do this. If you have a home inspection, they'll have you do this. A bad inspector, and I had a call about this the other day, and I had to verify, no, don't do this. A bad inspector will want you to put a ground rod here and tie it to the gas line.
Really?
And yeah, that's what a guy called me. He's like, "Hey, you don't want me to do that, do you?" I was like, "No, absolutely not." What you should do is take a clamp to the
Who
metal
farted?
outside and run that continuously with number 6 all the way back up to this manifold in the attic. So this is a different area. This is the attic of the house, right?
Yeah.
And then this is level 1. This is the attic, whatever. You're gonna run that
Sure.
number 6 with that gas line all the way up here. That way, this here is the same potential as your manifold. And if you need to, you can jumper. So if you went from the manifold and you started with black pipe or whatever you did, and this you're questioning about this manifold being conductive, you could jumper from here to there. We got a lot of lines going on now. But that's kind of it in a nutshell, right? Do you need to bond the gas? The code says yes. Should you? I don't know.
We go round and round with counties or different counties and gas companies in my area with gas bond.
It's up to them. If you want to put current on your,
I'm with you.
want
Who
to put
farted?
current on your gas line, then more power to you, man. I don't know if I really need current on the gas line. All right, what do we got? Run number 6 with number 2 with 2 ground rods and a ground bridge. Yeah, the ground rods are good, but not necessarily for bonding the gas. It's good to add ground rods to an existing service because you're kind of creating equipotential plane. But as far as making the gas source the same potential as the gas manifold, the ground rods don't do anything. You want to run that back to your source with the neutral, because at the end of the day, what happens is your neutral is the source. So a transformer here. This is our transformer. And we are, how do I want to draw this? Y.
All right, Juan.
We'll draw a Y, right? And the center is the neutral. There's a neutral. Yeah, Y. So center's the neutral. And then this comes in the form of utility power pole. We'll say this is on a pole. Okay. We're on a pole. And you got your wires coming over. And then you
Well,
got
that
your
makes
weather
sense.
head. This is terrible drawings, by the way. Got your weather head coming in to your house. This is our house. Jeez. Inside your panel, you have your neutral,
Right.
and you have your ground here.
Yeah.
And we bond our grounds and neutrals together at the source. Okay, I'm not going to draw the hots for simplicity here. Neutrals and grounds are bonded at the source. We have a receptacle somewhere in the house. We'll just do a metal box, just to make it simple. It could be the case of an oven. It could be anything. It could be a rat chewed a wire and made its way through the ground, whatever happened. If your hot makes its way to the metal box case, we have 3 wires. We have a hot, a neutral, and a ground that went to this panel to feed this plug. All right, we had a 20 amp breaker, 3 wires, hot, neutral, ground over here. I'm just going to draw the ground for simplicity. If we have a short and the current gets on the ground, where you've got a ground fault here,
Yeah.
and we send current to that ground, what happens is that current actually goes back to the neutral
Sure.
because they're bonded. It goes back through the neutral, goes back through the windings of the transformer. It comes backwards on the hot, goes to that breaker, the source, because this is the source to the plug, and it finds the source and trips that breaker. That all happens in 0.7 seconds, 7 cycles. at 60 hertz, 60 cycles.
High.
We're trying to trip a breaker in 7 cycles. So when you're talking about neutrals and grounds and how they're all related, that's pretty much what you need to know is where does that current go? Well, it goes back to the source, which is the neutral.
Okay. I'm just gonna I am just going to make this a lot easier for everybody that's listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
Think of grounds, neutrals, and hots like a figure 8. You're going to start out at one point, you're going to come back around, and they're going to meet up at another point in the center. Then you want them to loop back and loop back. That's all they need to know.
Yeah, there
Like
you
a
go.
figure 8.
There you go. A lot of people don't realize that goes back through the windings of the transformer, though, because someone will say, if you get enough current on the ground, it's going to trip the breaker. But you need to know, yeah, it comes back on the neutral. That's where the current comes from.
Yeah. It all ends up back at the same spot. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's an 8. It's a figure 8.
Let me see here.
See, it took him 15 minutes to explain that. I explained it in like 15 seconds.
There you go. Who says not in a separate structure? 7. Trying to follow what he's saying. You need different color markers, teacher. I'm sorry, I've only got green. I didn't know I had green, man. I was looking for something else earlier.
Why does your check your ground? Make sure that you've got a good ground. And if you got a good ground, you might just be overpowering your breaker. Make sure you got a breaker that's capable of handling the amperage of your hair dryer.
What about leakage current? Do you want to know about leakage current on the appliances? The big appliances is using to push the current. They're against the current push for the code, where you've got big breaker interests that are driving the code to force. I don't want to say the brand names. Actually, you know what? I don't even know if I can talk about this. I don't think I can talk about this. I can't talk about this.
That's true. Who farted?
100% cannot talk about this.
Then don't.
Yeah, leakage current is a problem for sure. It's a problem. There you go. The breaker makes continuous buzzing noise. Okay, so I got a question about the hair dryer. 86,000 seconds, Joshua. Dang.
That's not long enough. You can just hit permanent ban them.
It's pretty funny. Okay, so Eric says, why does my breaker trip every time I run a hair dryer? Okay, couple of questions. Does it trip instantly? Does it wait to trip? Does it matter whether it's high, medium, or low? How old is the house? Things like that. So while he figures that out, I'll just talk about what could be happening, right?
Exactly right.
Only on high. Okay, so only on high. 1977. Chances are you could possibly have a weak breaker. You could possibly have that breaker. If you're competent with electrical, what you can do, get your multimeter, set it to amperage.
Rodney wants you to
turn your hair dryer on. Don't turn it on high yet. Leave it on low. Check the amperage of that circuit. If you're anywhere close to 15, 16, you've exceeded that circuit. What you need to know is the whole time that breaker is getting hot enough to trip, you're doing irreversible permanent damage to your wire that you can't see. So an overload is the worst condition that you can possibly have. Of course, you got 3 options as a wire, if you will, right? One, the breaker trips. Two, the wire gets so hot that it separates itself. Three, uh,
Oh,
I don't
Buttsville.
want to say the word water and ice, man. One second is 30-degree water, now it's 32-degree ice. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say it on here. Really, really hot stuff. Only on high. Yeah, okay.
Well, when I found out a lot of wires are not tightened well enough, sometimes on an outlet.
Were
That's
they
true.
just kind of stabbed in there, or were they just never tightened? Because I see it all,
It's a
man.
different person. It's a different person.
Right. No, I get that too. And that'll do it too. And if you got a newer house, man, you could have arc ball breakers.
Budsville's funny.
Hey, Team Moon Tactics, what's up? What's going on, man? I actually don't own anything from Temu, proudly. The outlet has black marks on the plug top.
You got to change the outlet, first of all.
Yeah,
Fart
could just be the outlet.
inhalers. Why would you want anybody to know you inhale farts? And how fat was the dude that you stuck your nose into his ass to get a good whiff?
So I actually ran into the same thing, and we fixed it live the other day, right? I had a nuisance tripping GFCI. And before, I immediately just figured it was a nuisance tripping GFCI and just replaced the device. You want to do your diligence, and you want to do what I told you. You want to check the amperage, make sure the circuit's healthy. Joke's on you. It's 2000s. Joke's on you. It's a 2000s video of you as the monster.
That I don't know. I don't speak retard, so he's gonna have to clear it up or just go away.
Oh, Juan, you don't have to hide him, man. He's harmless.
He's just stupid. You're getting a lot of trolls tonight.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Could always be worse,
Hi
man.
again, Stephanie.
If you back to receptacles, you're a psycho. Yeah, that's a fact, man. The wire has to get too hot to heat the thermal breaker. Yeah, that's the worst case scenario, man. You're doing damage to the wire the whole time.
Pull out the outlet and take a look at it, because chances are one of the wires has gotten loose. Like most obvious, always start with the most obvious. Check the wiring at the outlet first. Pull it out and check to make sure that all of them are nice and tight. If you see any black or whatever, then you know, one, you have to automatically change the outlet, and two, you're going to have to go down to where the wire is good and reconnect. Start there. See if that fixes your problem.
Yeah. Thanks to our moderators, by the way. They're doing really good.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Man, we're in construction, both of us, for so many years. I worked 10 years at the same company. My first job was working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week for like 6 months. That's how I was introduced to the trade. And then I left there and I did a negative 40-degree freezer, a 32, a 46-degree, like a cooler, kind of like a fridge for produce, and then a giant warehouse, like 5 times the size of Walmart. When it was in the summer. So you just get used to the BS. So people don't bother me. Whatever they want to say, whatever they want to say. But yeah, we do have good moderators. I'm more lenient than most people. I really don't care what people think. I've got too much experience.
Take it easy, Big Red.
And the knowledge to let something bother me. I'm emotionally stable, and these guys are just wasting their breath.
Me personally, I just enjoy talking shit.
Yeah, he does.
People.
Yeah.
And chances of them beating me are, I'm 50 something years old now and ain't got one beat me yet. So
yeah,
still waiting.
quick wire suck. They carry no heavy loads. Yep.
And the,
Yep.
the best thing is these dudes lose a mental contest to a guy with Alzheimer's.
What's up, Sharon? And we got a lot of reviews. Like, huh? Okay. Again, appreciate it, moderators. All right.
Yeah.
So that
Opinion on the
receptacle there.
fatherland. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. So that receptacle there in question that he's telling you to pull out, is it a GFCI? Does it have a reset push button? Because if it's in your bathroom, period, it should be GFCI protected.
House was built in 1976.
Yeah, I would definitely make sure that you got GFCI protection on it. I had a lazy GFCI, but you don't want to go changing devices. I was at a Home Depot one day, and I heard a homeowner talking about replacing an arc fault breaker with a standard breaker. And as sketchy as it sounded, I approached the guy and I said, dude, let me come to your house and let me just look at it. I said, I don't want any money. I just
Thanks, Dave.
don't think you should be replacing that breaker. So yeah, GFCI everything exactly. So I go to the guy's house. Actually, you know what? I take it back. We were doing a pool light. He was asking me how to do line and load on a pool light for GFCI. And I just wanted to help him out. So went on my way, drove to his house, and wired up the pool light, right? Got it working safely. Tested GFCI. Everything was good. As I was leaving, he was like, oh, hey, this couch that has an automatic recliner, when you push the button, I noticed that it trips the breaker. And I was doing some research, and it sounds like I got a nuisance, arc fault breaker.
Right.
Can we swap it out? And my experience with arc faults is, you got big corporations that are pushing the code. Some of that stuff's just going to ignore faults that are clearly there. You don't even know what firmware operating system level they're on, because there's updates and versions of firmware on these breakers. And I had one that was an old treadmill, and I ended up actually calling Square D, and they told me to go to the supply house and get a certain firmware number. So the way that these breakers essentially work, and this is not exactly right. They also look at arc. So if we have a wire here, and that's the wire, okay, and we've got another wire coming in here, right? And it was supposed to be twisted in, right? But it wasn't, and this one was higher, and the wire nut is here. Triangle. Wire nut's there, right? And we're not getting a good grab. And you got a little kind of popping arc.
He moved
That's
away
not going to
from
trip an arc fault. You know what's going to trip an arc fault? It's actually a constant arc. If you looked at it with a graph, you wouldn't see it as an arc and an arc and an arc and an arc. What you're going to see that trips an arc fault breaker when you have a problem, it looks more like this.
Yeah. Several of them.
Like that. That's what it looks like. And it's that sustained, not pulsing arc, but that sustained drag of a draw, combined with the fluctuation of amperage, because it's sensing the amperage, right? That's what's going to trip an arc fault breaker. What they essentially do is, if you had, this is your box here, this is your wire in a loop. We have 3 here. You want to have 3 coming back here, right? And it's just a perpetual loop. The second that this turns into a 4, and you got 1 extra one coming back, is a good indication you got a problem, right? They're just kind of bean counters. That's all they do. So they said, can you change out this arc fault breaker? And I did my diligence, and I pulled the receptacle away from the wall. I pulled it out, and it almost fell apart in my hand. and I almost changed out that arc fault breaker to a standard breaker. So whenever I think about is something nuisance stripping, thankfully that story stops me from just doing what's easy. And, I get my multimeter out and I actually diagnose the circuit like you should. After determining in my kitchen that I had a nuisance tripping breaker, I'm sorry, nuisance tripping GFCI, which do happen. I've actually seen a GFCI that actually shorted backwards and it grounded out the whole circuit internally. And I've never seen that before. And that was probably one of the hardest things I've troubleshot. I think I was there for about 3 hours. So
yeah, we were there.
No, it was actually GFCI was actually outside, and someone had gone like back to back through the wall to an outside receptacle.
Yeah.
Can I teach a 150-pound man? Yeah, man, I missed been 1.25 inches, dude. I don't weigh that much less than 150, man. The biggest thing is just balance, and don't be afraid to pull up on the handle, man. Everyone's afraid to pull on that handle. You got to pull on the handle. But the most important thing you can do while you're pulling on the handle, you got to lean into it and stomp as you're pulling up, right? You're not going to kink the pipe pulling up on the handle. It's a freaking 1.25 inch pipe, but you have to kind of stomp at the same time. So you're kind of like doing this motion. It's going to look really stupid, but you're welcome. Hang on.
Wait, you're going to do something stupid?
Yeah.
This will not be a change. You were about to test out and sprain your ankle while it kinked last week. I'm sorry to hear that, who farted. Okay. You're 5'6". Jesus criminy. Am I like the only normal sized person? I'm just a little bitty 6'4". Can't see it.
Can you hear me?
Engine to pour a kicker.
Can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looking in the eye.
I actually just reminded myself that I think I've cracked this foot in half a couple of times and the ball of my foot hurts just from walking on this concrete. Okay. What you want to do, right? Because your bend throw, I believe, is 13 inches, if I remember right. I think it's 13. It could be. I think it's 13. God, that's embarrassing. I forgot that. I think it's 13. So you're going to wind up with at least 13 inches of pipe to grab.
We're going to test that. Let's repeat that 50 times.
And it's a lot bigger, and you've got this foot that resets. So the foot starts off up here, and then once you get to a certain point, you can pull that foot back and slap it back down flat, right? So depending on what stage you're in is when you're going to be bending this. And your foot will really be out here because that bender's huge. And what you want to do is you really want to stomp. Like you actually have to stomp. And don't be afraid to really get the pressure right here on your foot. It's not your heel. It's whatever pressure you can get. And you're almost kicking it. You got to get after it. And you're pulling up at the same time. You're almost bouncing on it. And it's like a balancing act. But if you just get on there and you just start bouncing that up there like that, this is way easier because it's freaking 3/4 or 1/2 inch. But that's pretty much once you get to this height here, this pipe is sticking up here. And I usually use this to help me with my flex because metal will bend a little bit before it starts to actually bend. See how you got a little bit of flex there? I always hold this up here like this and pull all that tension out. That way none of my stomping is wasted on bending that hasn't happened yet. You want that bend to already be ready to bend. That way when you push, you actually get motion. You don't want to, when you stomp, you don't want this to be springy. You want to put all that force into the tension that you're holding here so this pipe is ready to move.
Who farted? Do you remember when actually you're 150 pounds and you're 5'6"? I was going to ask you if you remember like being a kid and you had your dad asked you to take the lug nuts off the car. You would stand on one side of the lug wrench and pull on the other side while you bounced. Kind of the same damn thing.
There
Sorry,
you go.
5'7". I don't have to do that anymore. As a matter of fact, went to an auto shop and I had tightened the lugs on my wife's car, and they couldn't get them off with their pneumatic impact. They had to get me to come back there and do it. Can't hear you. The best you sounded all night, sir. Yeah, I'm not joking. Your mic's not working. Your lips are moving. The squirrel's turning, but there's no sound coming out. Triple nickel. All right. Thank you. It's the mule kick. I remember doing the mule kick when I was like 12. Yeah. Here's the other thing. We used to do half inch and no, 3/4 rebar. And when we had to bend it, I would just take it over my neck and just bend it. All I do is I'd like roll up a little piece of or a little towel or something that I had back there and just. It's the pleasure of being big, man. You can do a lot of stuff when you're big. I ask my wife. She's 4'10". I'm big. Hey, the Han. He's saying stuff, but I don't know what he's saying. A master electrician and train the big guy. That's the way to do it. I swear, when I bend 3/4, or you sweat when you? No, I didn't. I know we can't hear him, but
Can you hear me now?
why are you here just to suffer?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Could you hear me whenever I was talking bending that?
No.
Nothing.
Oh, I mean, yeah, when you were doing the floor demo and
Oh, well,
and
thank
saying a bunch
God,
of
dude.
bull.
Because those instructions were actually really good. I was like,
Yeah,
I'll never
we
be
heard
able to
you just fine.
articulate instructions that good. So, dude, I got a lot going on here, so you can't hear my kids. Like, you would not believe what's going on in the background right now.
Atlantis was getting his salad
And none of
tossed.
these are bouncing because the noise cancellation. That was bad
Hey, it
timing.
was good. Something's got to do it.
Okay.
Speak.
Well,
all right, we can still hear you.
Yeah.
By the way, I tested this while you were talking earlier.
Right.
This took less than 2 minutes to heat up.
Nice. You know, the Malif for $20 that does that is pretty nice too, honestly.
Is there a new Kid Blocker 3000? Yeah, marriage. If you get married, you don't have sex anymore. It's pretty good way.
Let me see here.
Do you really think we care if we can hear your kids in the background?
Yes.
A rubber goober molder? It is.
Yes, you don't want to hear my
It
kids. I got
is
a
a
3-year-old.
high temperature. It does have a high temperature. Well, I'll go through the mode real quick. So low, medium, high. So you can use this in automotive.
Boot recommendations. Is that a battery powered AZ?
Yes. Oh, they want to know boot recommendation? Brunt. I've tried all the brand. I'm
trying
a
to
fat
think.
man.
What do I like? You know what's been my go-to boot that I've used the most of is actually the freaking Doc Martens for $100 that you used to be able to get at Academy.
Oh, I'll
I'd
tell
wear
you
those
what.
things. The steel toe would fall out. I was walking to a sandwich shop one day in downtown Fort Worth, and we were working in a crawl space. I was running 4-inch rigid. So there is no good way to run 4-inch rigid in a crawl space that's only 2.5 foot tall. Like you're just
Yeah.
you're on knee pads and you're scuffing up your boots. There's no other way to paint that, right? And dude, I jacked those toes up so good. The freaking steel just fell out one day. I was walking. I had them all duct taped together.
Never owned a hot glue gun. What did you actually use it? So I use a lot in woodworking, like for a temp bind and woodworking. I'll use it for that. I also will randomly put googly eyes around the house, and I will hot glue them so that my wife can't take them off the wall or her shoes or the backside of her pants, things like that.
Nice.
And I have also been known to hot glue the front of shoes to the floor, especially like slip-ons, so that when the person slips them on and goes to walk, they fall on their face.
What's up, Ray? All right.
That's
We're
what I
at the
use them
hour
for.
mark, man. We gotta get out of here.
Somebody asked me a question. Oh, about the boots, Brunt boots. I'm telling you now,
Brunt Brutes.
Brunt boots.
How's it
These
going, Peyton?
are the most comfortable, lightest weight, but heavy duty boots I have ever owned. I've got a Great Dane puppy. She was chewing on them. The only thing I lost was the laces.
That's pretty good. The area overdrives. The area at overdrives are good. They got the rubberized on the side.
Yep.
They've got a toe coating over the top.
Oh.
Waterproof. Pull up. They're good boots. Up for
Ask your
review. First
question.
time watching. Thanks for the intel on DIY. Yeah, no worries. Thanks for dropping by.
Ask a question if you got one.
I have
Let
a
me answer it
question
real quick.
next time. What's your question? What you got?
A metal fence installed within blank feet of a pool shall be bonded.
5.
A metal fence, 8 feet, right? 6
5.
feet, 8 feet,
5.
5.
5 feet. Anything metal.
No
I'm 5
code
feet.
book.
I don't even tab my code books anymore. I got the 23 in at the office, and I almost gave my tabs away. I might put like 4 tabs in there just so I can find which would be conductor properties.
Fine.
Yeah, and
Too
that's
far.
a big deal getting that right. I've actually got quite a few videos on pool grounding. Now my channel here is kind of unorganized, I guess you could say. We do really well, and we get a lot of support, and a lot of
Yeah.
people join for how unorganized my channel is. So, but we do this every Tuesday and Thursday. I try to put out at least 3 or 4 videos a week, and we do it all here on the fly. So we haven't adopted the 2023 yet. Thank goodness. Still in the 20. Not looking forward to the 23.
How old is Priya 50 whatever 050? Because my mouth is you've got to be over 21 years old to listen to me.
Riley Mahler says, "Can I
Riley.
get a shout out?" What's going on, Riley Mahler?
Hey, everybody, look at Riley Myler. He's in the chat.
Let's see here.
Hmm.
I literally test next month. Oh man, that's cool. Yeah, 5 feet on that. It's wiring methods, man. The test is nothing. Don't even wait. Just go take it, and then figure out what you got to study for, and then take it again. Don't let it control you. Don't think about it too much. It's Romex, pretty much. If you know the 300s, 334, pretty much all those are the same. 334.10 would be uses permitted, and then uses not permitted. One's 10, one is 12. and it's like that for all the 300s. It's in the same location, either it's 10 or 12. Up for review. Is there any way?
Lime.
Kaylee.
Up for
Kaylee
review.
Haas.
Lime.
What's up, Kaylee Haas?
They sell lime. They sell root killing crystals that you can put down there and whatnot. But if they've already entered the drainage, you're going to need to cut them away and then redo it anyway.
I've heard of contractors putting down barriers, and it just seems like that stuff never really stops. I've heard of salt barriers. Call you, please. If you got my number, you can call me.
If you have my number, you can call him.
Yeah. If you need to ask for a shout out, go there for a morning shout out, damn kids.
I'm just saying. I am wearing a DeWalt shirt. I knew this would excite people tonight.
What's up, Vincent? A blank receptacle must be included in a something receptacle may be included on a small appliance branch circuit, a clock outlet, or a refrigeration. Electrical clock, yeah. Or refrigeration. Specifically refrigeration equipment. So you can actually have that thing on the fridge. I have a question. I'm 5'9" and in the 6th grade. Is that bad?
What the fuck are you watching this for? Get your ass to bed.
Come to my mic. Oh, my mic cut out for a second.
Sorry, I was giving him advice.
Scroll up to that last question. I really need that answer. What was the last question? Yes, electric clock. What about it? Wait.
Yeah, it's an electric clock.
Yeah,
you guys ever gotten electrocuted?
It's about motor rotation. How did I miss that? I completely missed that question. Hang on.
The first time I ever tried to change a ceiling fan, I did the ultimate homeowner move and forgot to turn the electric off to the ceiling fan. And when it dropped, I touched the wires, turned my whole finger black. Didn't actually hurt though.
Yeah.
Next level. No one cares that you're 5'9" or in the 6th grade.
Is your audio cutting in and out? Mine is.
I don't know if mine is. I can't hear
I don't know. I can't find this motor rotation question. If you want to switch the rotation of a motor, you change one lead on the 3-phase motor. Before you energize, you want to verify what direction your motor is. 2, 2, 2, 2.
What's your name? Hi, Poontane. Ask me again. I'll tell you the same. We used to tell that joke when I was like in the 5th grade. We didn't even know what Poontane was back then. You don't hear any audio problem. Good. Thanks, B-Dubs.
Awesome. Thank you. Those
Breaker back, and I didn't know what a Stephen B. I bet that was a surprise. Q2 killing audio. If audio cuts out, exit out channel and back in. It's happened to me. So, okay.
Well, you can't exit out on YouTube on a phone. It's not even an option.
Since I'm 5, who the fuck is, I'm not 5'9". I'm not little. Kansas, I think, is like that size.
We'll see you later. Man, I can't find that rotation question anywhere. It's not here. I don't know.
Ask it again.
Yeah, ask it again. Scroll up to see my last question. I really need that answer. Man, I can't. I've scrolled up, but It's hard to see on YouTube what
Hold on. I typed that shit out again. Sorry. Is it legal to have a main lug being fed from a meter disconnect on a 60 amp 2-pole breaker? No main breaker on top separated. How would you typically see a main breaker in a panel?
hang on, I gotta read that.
The feed.
Is it legal to have a main breaker fed from a meter disconnect
Take it easy, Juan.
on a 60 amp 2-pole breaker? No main breaker on the top. Yes. Yes, a 60 amp becomes your main. So you're going to be using 60 amp as the main breaker.
Motor rotation question.
When you say fed from a meter disconnect, you mean that it's just fed from a meter, right? And then
You did answer that one.
the main would be the main would be in the sub panel essentially, right? Or I guess that would be the main. Just need to verify something. Yeah, you can do it. You can backfeed a breaker.
So the last question that I have from him, from Who Farted, was, and blank receptacle may include a small appliance circuit, electrical clock, or electric clock.
Man, that's crazy. I don't see it either.
Answered it for you.
He's asking about the motor rotation question, but all I see is electric clock. I've scrolled up a couple of times now, actually. Receptacle. Now, somebody might have accidentally. Someone might have accidentally deleted.
Makitas make me look bad. That's pretty funny. Hold on. Motor rotation. Message retracted.
Yes, fed from a meter disconnect using insulation piercing connectors. No, man. So here's the deal with insulation piercing connectors, because I directly called UL. Okay. And I know this off the top of my head, so you're just going to have to trust me. Okay. ZMMV is the suffix or prefix that you're looking for when you go to UL's website. You're looking for ZMMV. And you're looking for suitable for use on the line side. What you're going to see is there is no such thing. I don't care what Burndy or any other brand says. At the top right of their page, of their nomenclature, it says suitable for use. It's a lie. So it's not a thing. There is no such thing as an insulation piercing connector to this date that is suitable for use on service equipment. So can you run from a meter and tap and then land on a breaker with an Ilsco piercing connector? No, can't do it.
Yes. Alvaro, yes. It's coming from Missouri. FJB.
I typed this 3 times. Hey, send me an email, man. Conductivewood@gmail.com. All one word, conductivewood@gmail.com. Send me an email, because
it's got to have something in it that you won't let us see.
Yes, something about it. We can't see it. It keeps getting blocked. I don't know what it is. Copy and paste it, so you don't have to type it again 4 times, and post it.
So I found out something interesting about social media today, and it particularly is for us, being that we're content creators. There are certain people that you cannot say this year their name.
Nice. Good to know. Well, you can tell me about it later. Hang on.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
It's not hard to figure out.
Okay, so we got A, we got B, and we got C. Okay. If you were going clockwise, okay, you're going clockwise, and you want to go counterclockwise on a three-phase motor, you can change any one of these wires. You can put this wire here. You can put this wire here. You can only switch one.
Yes.
So you're just going to take one off and put another one on. That's how you change the rotation of a three-phase motor. Just one.
He says it's got to be it's got to change 2 leads on a 3-phase, 2 wires.
Well,
You have
okay,
to change.
sorry. Yeah. Obviously. Right. Because you're taking one off, you're going to put another one on. So yes, you are changing 2, but you only have to
How can we
switch
connect?
one with another. Yeah, you're gonna move 2. Guaranteed, because you're gonna take off B and you're gonna put it on C and you're gonna take off C and put it on C. So
Yes, 2.
yeah, we're saying the same thing. Yes,
Yes.
2. Yes, 2.
You're gonna
Yeah, you are,
do
man.
fine,
Keep in
buddy.
touch. Keep in touch.
I love the name, by the way. Who farted?
Yeah,
I love it.
pretty good. Definitely keep in touch. Keep us posted. Stay in the chat, man. Ask me a bunch of questions.
Yes.
I'll let you know whatever you want to know. Okay, we got to get. Appreciate all the support. Thanks to everybody. All my regulars, let me know, man. Does this work? Because there's not too much else we can do. This is about as good as it's going to get for a while as far as presenting and drawing and all that stuff. I can get longer cords. I can get less stuff on my desk so I can move around a little bit more freely, but this is about as good as it's going to get.
Take care, guys.
Any issues, call my cell phone. We'll see you later, guys. Hey, man, I want to help you so much. If you do email me, chances are
I didn't see any comment by me. I didn't leave any.
I'll reach out.
Thanks, MB.
Yeah, you're going to pass.
So
You're
for
going to pass
all
on
you
emailing
Makita
or
guys,
pass on? Go ahead.
for all you Makita guys out there, don't forget, blow them like you know them. And for the rest of you, Manscaped, go ahead.
Conductivewood at gmail.com. Conductivewood@gmail.com.
That means he put the electrical probes on his nut.
Hey, the ground rod fit in the hole. I don't know what to tell you.
That's true. And for all the rest of you guys out there, Manscaped like your landscape. If you trim your bush, your deck will look big.
We'll see you later. Raw meat's okay. I cook it a little bit. You can unblock that guy. We'll see you guys later. I'm trying to end it on my. Got to get used to this.
He's a little slow, folks.
Yeah, it's on my phone. We'll see you guys later.